What is keeping this powder keg from exploding? And what I'm talking about is the economy, government, wars, everything. What is keeping our country from exploding into the next revolution, right? You're hearing a lot of the next civil war. The only reason people are using that term so much is because the movie Civil War that came out earlier this year, right? The Obama movie, pretty much. You got to understand, we are on the brink of we're teeter-totting every day like this right here, right? It doesn't take much to fall off, and then we're rolling downhill, right? Or the pot's boiling over, however you want to look at it. I believe the only reason we have not already went that far is because people are afraid of going to jail, getting arrested and going to jail. You see what happened to the January 6th people. They called them insurrectionists, and that some of them got some prison sentences out of that, right? We see it all the time. If you watch YouTube, TikTok, Rumble, any of that stuff, right? If you watch any of it, when something major happens, you'll have your curators come on here and they'll fly their flag upside down and scream and yell about how they're not going to take it no more. This is the last straw, but yet nothing ever gets done, right? Nothing ever gets done. You cross that red line in the sand, this is it. Well, we just draw another red line, right? Once it gets crossed, they just draw another one. What's going to be the catalyst that the red line is crossed and no more is being drawn? I firmly believe it's if they do not allow Donald Trump to win the presidency, or if they take him out between now and then, right? I mean, could they be possibly another attempt on him? Possibly. Well, we're hearing threats of it, right? They're coming out about every week saying there's another threat on Trump, another threat. And you got the Democrats that keep calling them essentially, the issue of what's wrong with America, right? They're blaming him for everything, or saying that he's a danger to to Americans. So I mean, we're living in some crazy times here. You know, if Trump gets assassinated, I probably just got in trouble for saying that word, but if Trump gets taken out, or they do not allow him to be president again, I think that will be the final line. We're starting to hear rumors of the National Guard being activated now, right? That they're trying to get them, which I cannot prove that. That's just hearsay from other YouTubers. I can't prove it. So why are they doing that? Well, we're coming up close to the election. We keep hearing about this big surprise in October, right? Some people think it's going to be Biden drops out of the race and or resigns from the presidency, so Kamala essentially becomes president, right? And that's going to be the big news for the October surprise. Or could it be that Trump, they finally get him, right? You ever think we would see this type of stuff in America at the rate we are seeing it here? Yes, we've had presidents assassinated in the past. We have. It's not nothing new, right? But for some reason, this stuff is starting again. I always tell you, history repeats itself. It repeats itself. It goes in a circle. It does. You got all these wars going on everywhere. There is too much stuff going on for all this not to boil over, tip off the teeter totter, and get everything going. Do I think nuclear war is right around the corner? No, I don't. But that's not to say that some lunatic couldn't get their hands on something and start a nuclear war, right? The cell phones or the pagers and the radios, all this stuff exploding. That gets in the wrong hands, that could be drastic, right? I mean, you could see something major happening from that in the United States. We kept hearing, Biden kept telling us, what, a year or two ago, about how we really need to start watching out for hacks, that was one of our number one enemies now. Well, they now blowing up phones and stuff on people, right? We've discussed this about, is that already in our devices sitting and waiting? I don't know. It could possibly be. The line in the sand, I believe the last line, and people would actually say that's enough, we're not putting up with this no more, is if they take Trump out, they do not allow him to become president. I think that's the line in the sand. I don't know how this election is going to turn out. If you sit down and you look at everything, you say, well, Donald Trump should win 98% to 2%, right? That's what we said last time, too. And look what happened, right? He's winning. All right, we got this in the bag, go to bed. Next one, wait a minute, what's going on here? You're going to have a lot of areas that's not going to have their vote counted for days, possibly for days. And then you're going to have whoever wins or loses, they're not going to. It used to be if you lost, you conceded and be like, yeah, I lost, thank you. Now it's like, no, I want to recount. But you got to remember, Trump wanted to recount, and why do you want to recount, right? You shouldn't have to recount this. But they'll allow it for other people to have a recount, right? Do I think there was something fishy in the last presidential election? I think there's something fishy in all of them. Every election we've ever had. I don't really believe it's an election. It's more of a selection of who becomes the president. The people, they're scared of Donald Trump. They're scared of him. When he come in last time, he was threatening to jail all these people. Nothing really happened, right? It got him. It got his votes. You know, he's going to build a wall. He's going to drain the swamp, but yet the swamp didn't get drained, right? Similar stuff's going on now with the way he's running. Kamala, I don't think America could survive another 4 years with Kamala. I really don't. That may be the master plan. You know, let her get in there and we just destroy the whole thing and start over. Because our economy this far in debt, our government this far in debt, our country this far in debt, you can't pay that off. That debt is unpayable. And it's called deficit budgeting, right? We should not we shouldn't be like that. You know, you'll hear all the time that gold skyrocketing, right? Gold skyrocketed today. Well, how much did it go up? 200. That seems like a lot, right? It is a lot if you bought gold back in what before 2007 when you could still get it under a couple $100 an ounce, right? Now you're buying gold. And of course, I tell everybody gold's going to keep going up in value. It may not go up as much as it is right now, but it's very rarely that I don't know if it's ever lost value here in the past couple years, right? But there's so much stuff going on. Something has to happen. When is it going to happen? That's the question everybody wants answered. I don't know. I don't know. The best you can do is just keep preparing. That way, when it does happen, you can sit back and not be one of these people that's having to run to the store to get stuff, right? Because that's when it's going to be dangerous. I do believe on election day, go cast your vote, go home, wherever you want to go. Go home where you feel safe and just let's watch what happens, right? I believe if he loses, if they don't take him out between now and the election and he loses, I believe that could be the start of the next revolution here in America. And I'm not going to call it a civil war. It would be a revolution. They'd be like, something's wrong with this government. We need to take this over, right? That's what I think is going to happen. Right now, what's preventing that from whenever all this stuff happens, you see people mad, right? Like I'm telling you, they'll pop on here and fly their flag, you know, upside down and all this. Well, I'm upset, I'm mad, you know, America, America, but yet nothing ever gets done, right? The day goes by and the next day, and then we're back to the same old BS we've been in, right? It's because people honestly are afraid of going to jail. I mean, they're afraid of losing their rights. That's what's preventing that now. And I think the catalyst that will kick it way up a couple thousand years would be if they take Trump out or if he doesn't win the election. I mean, could you seriously think about it? What if Trump gets just completely blown out of the election, right? Like Kamala wins 80% of the vote. A lot of you saying that's not going to happen. You understand why I'm looking at you like that, right? It can happen. It may not be legally the way it happens, but it can happen. So, guys, you need to really start preparing. There's so much stuff going on right now that if you sit around and worry about it, you're going to drive yourself crazy. So just focus on your preps, what you need to do. Keep your eyes and ears open on everything that's going on in the world and be ready. That's the best you can do. I've told you, we cannot stop what's coming. All we can do is react to it. But you need to be in a position where when you react to it, you're not knee-jerk reacting to it, right? It doesn't shock you that something like that happened. That's where you need to be. Guys, keep your head on the swivel. Be aware of your surroundings at all times. Protect yourself and your family at all times. At that moment, you're the only person who can do it. Stay safe. Keep prepping. I talked to my mom. She's a baby boomer. Grew up. Her parents was my grandparents that I've talked about on here. I asked her if she would be willing to do a video on here about talking about how it was like growing up from her mom and dad coming up through the Depression to the baby boom to the 50s, the 60s, and she said she would consider it. And first she said no, but I said, come on now. And she said, why do you want to do it? I said, well, that way your great grandkids, there you are on TV. They can hear your voice, they can see you and know what you thought about stuff. I think I've got her convinced to do a little interview. I don't know, but if we do, we're going to do it and put it up here, and I hope everyone enjoys it. It may be a couple days to a couple weeks before we get it done, but we're going to try to. Everybody's getting older, and we're not here forever. So let me know your thoughts on that if you'd like to see that. If you're still watching at 10 minutes, thank you. You are a hardcore boss prepping fan. Or you're just sitting there saying, let's see what this idiot says. Stay safe, keep prepping.